Well, before we talk about all the things we've talked about all week as we've gotten ready for this game with our own guests and whatnot, take me into the Niners locker room. What did you see? What was the overwhelming feeling that you got from the players, or any one specific conversation?
Well, I did an extended conversation yesterday with Logan Ryan. And, it was funny. I said, hey, you're one of the veterans in the room. The Niners have 5 young DBs, and they need those young DBs to play. And I said to him, if a young player came up to you this week and asked you for advice, you've been in he's got 2 Super Bowls. I mean, this guy's got a lot of experience. And he said, you know what, this isn't the week to try a new pill. This isn't a new week to try a new sleep method. This isn't a new week to, stay with your process, stay with what's worked for you. Don't make any big changes this week, trying to, chase perfection. Just stay within yourself, be where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there. Be accountable to your teammates, know where you're supposed to be. So it was a simple message from him, but one that was, I think, I took it as, don't panic, don't change, trust your process, stay with it, and get your head in the playbook, know where you're supposed to be and when, the plan, and then just go out there and and play, play physical and play fast. I mean, that's really it. That was his message. I talked to Colton McKivitz extensively about what his job is, because I think his job's huge. He's going to have Rashawn Gary, who lined up on his side 400 times this year. And, Colton has watched all the cut ups of all the D linemen. And he said, hey, look, they rush 5 a lot. And so you got to, and they don't do a lot of blitzing, but they do rush 5. And they'll sometimes rush guys that, you won't necessarily be the 5 that you think are coming. And they'll drop other guys into coverage. But he's like, they're going to rush 5, and we're going to have to be prepared for it. So, I mean, there was just a lot of individual conversations. Brock Purdy is, a lot of people say, well, he's been off for 21 days. I think the Niners did something really good in these 21 days, Damon, is they drove that kid. Film, work, perfecting the mistakes that he made during the year, cleaning up his technique, really working him hard. And so, yeah, he hasn't played, but, man, he has been working really hard, watching film on the field, trying to perfect his craft. So, yeah, I mean, it's a lot of that. What's
been the level of contact at practice? Because you obviously don't want to have guys putting the thunder on each other. No one wants a practice injury before the playoffs start, but you also don't want to go tippy-toeing around and set the wrong tone for what's coming, the hardest hitting football game you're going to be in all year long. That's what's coming. And yeah. How did Shanahan deal with the actual physicality of the last 2 weeks of practice?
They went live. They went live with pads Friday, ones versus ones. And, I mean, sometimes, that's a good way to go about it, but that was last week. This week, it was much, they didn't go with hitting and that kind of thing.
Walk through shells. They're not in full pads.
Yeah, they weren't in full pads this week, and there wasn't hitting, but they actually had a live training camp-like practice last week on Friday. And Thursday and Friday were 2 back-to-back pretty intense practices by all accounts. And a lot of guys feel like it was great. Some of the guys said we absolutely needed that, just to get in that right frame of mind and to not have the rust. So, I mean, the beautiful part about this is that Shanahan's got a really good playoff record. He's never lost a playoff game at home. He's got a real good idea and sense of his team this year, what they needed. And I think they hit the ground running in this game. If they lose this game, it won't be because of their plan that was the other thing that came across, Damon. I need to mention this. Without me asking, I would say at least a half dozen guys referenced, we really like the plan this week. So that's always good. And I asked Shanahan, I said, do you have to sell your plan to these guys? I mean, not only do you come up with the plan, but do you have to sell it to them? And he's like, God, I hope not. And then he said, it's always great, though, when the guys really believe in the plan, and are invested mentally and emotionally in the plan, and have that total belief in it.
Right.
That's always a good thing.
The theme that's always come from the guys in the locker room is Kyle doesn't want you to learn how to run a play. He wants you to understand how the play is run. And there's a difference there, right? There really is. I know that sounds like, well, you're just saying the same thing two different ways. I'm not. It's
the why. It's not just the what. It's the what and the why.
Yes. Yeah. And look, Shanahan doesn't give very much, right? He plays his cards very close to the vest, a lot, as all coaches do. But do you have any inkling as to what that plan might be? Larry, is the plan the obvious thing that you and I've been talking about together all week and with our guests all week, that this really feels like if Shanahan gets off a 40 carry game, the Niners win it? The plan should be RPM, runs per minute, fresh runs, fresh legs, running it like Chip Kelly tempo. And it's McCaffrey, Mitchell, McCaffrey in the slot. Up, Jordan Mason's back there now. Fresh legs, Debo end around. Debo lined up as a running back. Debo coming from anywhere. Did Debo tunnel screen? To me, this is the keep fresh legs, knees and elbows, running at the Packers, and it feels like the easiest way to go about winning this game.
I think it's going to be the Christian McCaffrey Invitational, to be honest.
Okay.
I really do. I think the Niners are going to run the ball a ton. This Green Bay team is 28th in the league against the run. I mean, what really stands out, it's who runs the ball better and who stops the run better. The 49ers have the number 3 rushing offense. Green Bay's got the number 28 rushing defense. The Niners have the number 3 rush defense. Green Bay's got the mid-pack 15th rush offense. So it's stop Aaron Jones on defense, first and foremost. Make Jordan Love play from the pocket, make him go through his progressions. And then it's a lot of Christian McCaffrey. I really believe that. And then the thing that really stands out when you look at this team defensively, Green Bay, is that Devondre Campbell and Quay Walker are not guys who can cover the running back out of the backfield. And Quay Walker, I think I heard Greg Papa say it when I was driving down to the facility. There's no question. Quay Walker is probably more of a defensive end who's a little undersized and is playing inside linebacker. He's a much better player moving forward than he is going backward. And Devondre Campbell doesn't move well at all. And I just think that you're going to see Debo in the backfield. You're going to see CMC in the backfield. And they're going to make those guys the conflict defender, and they're going to make those guys prove that they can cover. But, the stat of stats to me is the 49ers this year are 10-1 when Christian McCaffrey goes for 75 yards. So they're going to run the heck out of Christian McCaffrey. And Damon, if there was one guy in that room this week that was just all about business, Christian McCaffrey. And he just mentioned that the Niners have been in a, focus and we're going to go back to the Super Bowl kind of intensity and singular mindset since minicamp. And he led that charge in minicamp. You were there in training camp. You saw how he stood out from his peers. Christian McCaffrey is going to be the biggest. I think he's going to be the biggest player on the field for the Niners.